Welcome to Middle School Academic Derby. I'm Brent Anderson, and I'll be your moderator for today's match between the Pirates from Swansboro Middle School and the Knights from Jacksonville Commons Middle School. Let's get started by introducing our teams. First, our team from Jacksonville Commons Middle School, coached by Elise Thomas.
Anaya Batts from 6th grade.
Jordan Hamilton from 7th grade.
Jada Richardson from 7th grade.
Connor Denton from 8th grade.
And now our team from Swansboro Middle School, coached by Retta Meyer and Rosemary Adams.
Michaela Morris, 7th grade.
Xavier Finch, 6th grade.
John Henderson, 8th grade.
Drew Nicorak, 7th grade.
All right. Now in our first round, we're going to ask 7 questions of each team. If the first team doesn't answer, the second team will have a chance at the same question. Once the first team has had all their questions and had a chance to answer, the second team is going to have the same opportunity. We're going to begin this round with our team on our top row, which is Swansboro Middle. So Swansboro, go ahead and get your buzzers ready. And your first question in this round is a vocabulary question. Which word designates a square or court that is surrounded by buildings, as on a college campus? John?
A block.
No, not a block. Jacksonville Commons? Anaya?
A dorm.
Not a dorm. That would be the building, but around where that is a quad or a quadrangle. Okay, so a quad is where we go on that college campus. All right, our next question for you, Swansboro, is a medical terminology question, medical terms. Doctors warn that DVT, or deep vein thrombosis, is a silent killer, causing some 60,000 possibly preventable deaths each year. What is the common name for thrombosis? Drew?
Throb?
No, not throb. Jacksonville Commons? All right. That is a blood clot, and those are dangerous because they can break loose and get to the lungs and can cause death from that. All right, our next question is a world history, basically a World War II history question for you, Swansboro Middle. In which city, in which country, so we're looking for the city and the country, did Fidel Castro lay a wreath in 2003, honoring the approximately 226,000 people who died there on August 6, 1945, when the United States dropped an atomic bomb on it to bring World War II to an end? John?
Nagasaki, Japan.
That is incorrect. Jacksonville Commons? Jordan?
Okinawa, Japan.
No, not Okinawa. John, you were close. Nagasaki was the second city. Hiroshima, Japan was the one that we laid the wreath at in 2003. All right, next we have a business titles question for you, Swansboro. As part of the investigation of the energy company Enron, a federal court once froze brokerage accounts belonging to Enron's former CFO. What does the title CFO stand for? John?
Coordinator Function Organization.
Good effort, but not correct. Jacksonville Commons? All right. That is Chief Financial Officer, CFO, our Chief Financial Officer. Next, we have a U.S. President's question, Swansboro. Who defeated Richard Nixon for the presidency in 1960? John?
Garfield.
No, not Garfield. Jacksonville Commons? A little after Garfield's time, John Kennedy. John Kennedy defeated Nixon in 1960. Next, we have an acronyms question for you. The project called SETI, S-E-T-I, is the search for intelligence in the universe. Give the meaning of the E in SETI, which means a being not of this earth? John?
Extraterrestrial.
That is correct. And S is search and I is intelligence. All right, next we have your final question for this round, Swansboro, is a math question. It does involve some computation, so I'll read the question twice, and you have some extra time to come up with the answer. So pencil and paper ready. The mean of 12, 15, and 30 is how much larger than the median of the same three numbers? So again, the mean of 12, 15, and 30 is how much larger than the median of the same three numbers? John?
8.
That's incorrect. Jacksonville Commons? Jordan?
4.
4 is the right answer for that one. Okay. All right, we're going to now move to Jacksonville Commons for your 7 questions. And we're going to start you guys off with a religious terms question. Complete the title of Max Collins's 2005 book, Road to Blank, a sequel to Road to Perdition, by giving the name for the place in the afterlife where Catholics believe those who die in God's grace are purged of their sins through suffering. Anaya?
Road to Heaven.
No, not heaven. Swansboro? John?
Road to the Afterlife.
No, on the right track with those. Looking for the road to purgatory, where they're purged of their sins, purgatory. All right, next we have a vocabulary question for you. Which word designates both the large yellowish-brown black-spotted cat for which a 10,000-acre preserve has been created in Mexico near the Arizona border, and a line of British-made luxury cars? Oh, Drew, this is Jacksonville Commons question. So Jacksonville Commons? All right. Now Swansboro? Drew?
Jaguar.
Jaguar is correct. All right, and I think you have to say it Jaguar. I don't know if you can say Jaguar. So, all right, next we have a U.S. authors question for you, Jacksonville Commons. Name the author whose National Museum has an exhibit focusing on the agricultural heritage of California's Salinas Valley, which is the setting for many of his novels, including The Red Pony. All right, Swansboro. John?
Gary Soto.
That is incorrect. The author is John Steinbeck. All right, next we have a national anthem question for you, Jacksonville Commons. The Star-Spangled Banner became the national anthem on March 3rd, 1931. Which word completes its second line? What so proudly we hailed at the twilight's last blank. Jada?
Gleaming.
Gleaming is correct. All right. Now we have a math question for you, Jacksonville Commons, so pencil and paper ready. And I'll read it twice, and you have some extra time to come up with the answer. What is the simplified value of x squared minus y squared if x equals 1/4 and y equals 3/4? So again, what is the simplified value of x squared minus y squared if x equals 1/4 and y equals 3/4? Connor?
Negative 8/16.
Can you simplify that for me anymore?
Negative 1/4.
That is incorrect. Swansboro? Drew?
Negative 1/2.
Negative 1/2. Negative 1/2. All right. And our next question for you, Jacksonville Commons, is a world history question. In 1991, 3 Viking ships sailed up the Potomac to commemorate the landing in the New World by which explorer about 1,000 years ago? Swansboro? John?
Leif Erikson.
Leif Erikson is the correct answer. And our final question for our first round is a U.S. Capitol question. Not U.S. Capitals, but the U.S. Capitol in Washington, D.C. In an attempt to eliminate long lines, specifically timed tickets are handed out to visitors or spectators visiting which 555-foot tall obelisk in Washington, D.C.? All right, Swansboro? Xavier?
The Washington Monument.
That is correct, the Washington Monument. All right. And with that question, we've come to the end of our first round. We'll be right back with our score after this break. Please stay tuned.
So, I'm kind of new here, but I've noticed a trend. My human does this funny thing where she goes around and gets all my toys, and then she hides them in that basket by the door. But it's always the same basket, and it's always in the same place. And then she acts so surprised when I find them, but, she's putting them in the same basket. Again. It's like, hello, that's where you put it last time. You were the worst at hide and go seek.
Oh, emojis! I thought the conversation just got dumber.
Ugh, internet trolls, just ignore them.
I like you just the way you are.
I believe in you!
She's a hugger. Give her a squeeze.
Help up the hand!
Ah, there you go. Thanks, mate.
You're killing it, Jane!
Welcome back to Middle School Academic Derby. After our first round, our score is Jacksonville Commons 4 and Swansboro 10. We're going to move now into our bonus round where either team may buzz in and answer the question. If the question is answered correctly, there will be 4 bonus questions asked in which the answer must be given to the captain of the team. We have some new team members, so let's introduce them now, beginning with our team from Jacksonville Commons Middle School.
Jacob Moats from 8th grade.
I'm Kennedy here from 7th grade.
Troy Phillips from 8th grade.
And now our new players from Swansboro.
Emma Gallagher, 6th grade.
Colin Hewitt, 7th grade.
All right. Now, Jacob, you're the captain for your team, and John, you're the captain for your team. So if you would, go ahead and pick up your buzzers, and we're going to begin with a geography question. Identify the geographic feature specified by all of the following: Magellan, Hormuz, Dover, and Dardanelles. Drew.
Straight.
Straight is correct. Swansbury, here are your 4 bonus questions. Identify the common bond for each of the following groups. I'm going to give you the group. You've got to tell me what the commonality is among the 3 things that we're going to talk about. Number 1, acute, obtuse, and right. Number 2, Muff Potter, Sid, and Becky Thatcher. Number 3, Tudor, Tudor, Stewart, and Windsor. And number 4, Watergate, Whiskey, and Teapot Dome. All right, John.
For number 1, we have triangles. For number 2, we have authors. For number 3, homes. And for number 4, alcohol.
Okay, I'm afraid none of those are correct. Jacob, how about you guys?
For number 1, we have angles.
Okay. Anything for 2, 3, or 4?
No, sir.
All right, that is correct. A little too specific with yours, John. It was angles, not just triangles, but angles. Muff Potter, Sid, and Becky Thatcher are characters in Tom Sawyer. Tudor, Stewart, and Windsor are royal families or houses of England. And Watergate, Whiskey, and Teapot Dome are all American scandals, especially presidential scandals. Next, we have a diseases question for you. Which disease caused by the variola virus, a type of pox, ceased to exist as a human disease about 1980? Colin.
Smallpox.
Smallpox is correct. All right, in Swansboro, here are your 4 bonus questions for this one. Answer each of the following concerning diseases. Number 1, adjective used to describe a disease communicable by contact. Number 2, any disease causing poison formed by bacteria and other living organisms. Number 3, any substance derived from a bacterium or a fungus and capable of destroying harmful microorganisms. And number 4, the body's defense system against disease. All right, John, what you got?
We have contagious, virus or viral, that's in order 1 and 2.
Okay.
And then number 3, we have pathogen. And for number 4, we have immune system.
All right, number 1 and number 4 are correct. Jacob, anything for 2 or 3?
No, sir.
All right. The disease-causing poison formed by bacteria is a toxin. So that would be a toxin. And number 3, any substance derived from those things that can destroy harmful microorganisms would be an antibiotic. All right. Our next toss-up question for you is a history question. In which camp, or at which camp in Pennsylvania, did George Washington and his army spend a harsh winter in 1777? John?
Valley Forge.
Valley Forge is correct. That was 1777 to 1778. All right, Swansboro, here are your 4 bonus questions. Answer each of the following concerning U.S. sites. Number 1, in which state was the Folsom Point, a fluted type of arrowhead or flint point, discovered? Number 2, in which U.S. state did the Salem witch trials take place? Number 3, in which state was part Cherokee Indian Will Rogers born? And number 4, in which state is the United States Treasury Department's gold bullion depository located at the Army Center called Fort Knox? All right.
For number 1, we have North Carolina. For number 2, we have North Carolina. For number 3, we have Virginia. And for number 4, we have Maryland.
All right. I'm afraid none of those are correct. Jacob?
For number 2, we have Wisconsin.
I'm afraid that's incorrect also. Anything for others?
No, sir.
All right. New Mexico is where the Folsom Point was located or first discovered. Massachusetts was our state for the Salem witch trials, so Salem, Massachusetts. Will Rogers was born in Oklahoma, and Fort Knox is in Kentucky. Fort Knox, Kentucky. All right, we have an earth science question for you. Identify the hot springs under the Earth's surface that periodically spout columns of hot water and steam into the air. Emma?
Geyser.
Geysers are correct. All right. Swansboro, here are your 4 bonus questions. Excuse me. Identify each of the following concerning geysers. Number 1, traditionally most famous of the American geysers located in a national park. Number 2, the national park in which this geyser is located. Number 3, country whose famous hot spring is named Geysir, Geysir, from which we get our word geyser. And number 4, the northern world capital, named from 2 words meaning, quote, to smoke and, quote, inlet, because of the steam of geysers located there?
All right. So for number 1, we have Old Faithful. For 2, we have Yellowstone. For 3, we have France. And for 4, we have Montana.
Okay, number 1 and number 2 are correct. Jacob, anything for 3 or 4?
No, sir.
All right. Iceland is the country where the famous hot spring is and where we get our word geyser. And the national or northern world capital, named from those words to smoke and inlet, is Reykjavik in Iceland. So Reykjavik, Iceland. All right, that sound tells us that we've come to the end of our second round. We'll be right back with our lightning round and our score after this break.
Na 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 na, I love you so. I love you, I love you. La 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 la, la 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 la.
We're here.
Yay!
It's a short drive from your neighborhood to your naturehood. To find a neighborhood park or green space near you, visit discovertheforest.org.
Welcome back to the Middle School Academic Derby Lightning Round. After our second round, our score is Jacksonville Commons 6 and Swansboro 26. We're going to meet our new team members now. We have one new player for this round from Jacksonville Commons Middle School.
Anthony Somerville from 8th grade.
All right. Now for our lightning round, we're going to be asking a series of 20 questions in 2 minutes. You must wait until I call your name before you answer, and any incorrect answers will give points to the other team. So if you'll pick up your buzzers, we're going to get started here. And I will tell you that all of the questions in this lightning round are math terms. Math terms, no math computation, just math terms. So pretty much vocabulary here. All right, so buzzers ready? We're going to go with answer in an addition problem. Jacob.
Some.
Correct. Top number in a fraction. Colin.
Numerator.
Correct. The measurement of the length of the edge of a plane figure. Time. A geometric figure with 5 sides. Drew.
Pentagon.
Correct. The answer in a division problem. Drew.
Quotient.
Correct. The distance between the center of a circle and its edge. Colin.
Diameter.
Incorrect. The most general geometric figure with only 4 sides. Emma.
Square.
Incorrect. A triangle with 2 sides of equal length. Jacob.
Isosceles.
Correct. 2 lines that remain the same distance apart. Drew.
Parallel.
Correct. A geometric figure with 6 sides. Jordan.
Hexagon.
Correct. Unit used to measure angles. Jacob.
Degree.
Correct. Measurement of the distance around a circle. Jacob.
Circumference.
Correct. An angle of 90 degrees. Jacob.
Right angle.
Correct. Ratio of the measure of the diameter of a circle to its circumference. Jacob.
Pi.
Correct. A triangle with 3 equal sides. Drew.
Equilateral.
Correct. A line that divides a line segment, angle, or figure into 2 equal parts. Time. An angle of more than 90 degrees, but less than Emma.
Obtuse.
Correct. A triangle which has sides of 3 different lengths. Jordan. Time. Number divisible by only by themselves and 1. Jacob.
Prime number.
Correct. And the side of a right triangle opposite the right triangle. John?
Hypotenuse.
Correct, and that is our last question. All right, going back through some that we didn't get. The perimeter is the measurement of the length of the edge of a plane figure. So we're looking for the perimeter. The radius is the distance from the center of the circle and its edge. Okay. Quadrilateral is the most general geometric figure with only 4 sides. Square is a type of quadrilateral. Let's see, what else? A bisector is the line that divides a line segment, angle, or figure into 2 equal parts. And scalene triangle is that triangle that has a side of 3 different lengths. All right. So that is the end of our final round. We'll be right back with our final score after this break. Please stay tuned.
They told me a bottle couldn't dream. That I would never become a superhero. But I learned how to fly. Just to come back in a new disguise. And be the hero that I've always wanted to be.
They call me Prince like I'm royalty or something. But the places I've lived ain't no palaces. So I don't need grilled salmon or a new scratching post. Just give me a cardboard box and a can of tuna and we're good. You can even change my name. I'm cool being the kitty formerly known as Prince.
Welcome back. Our final score for today's match, Jacksonville Commons 26 and Swansboro 42. We'd like to thank everybody for watching and ask you to stay tuned for our next match featuring Dixon Middle School and Trexler Middle School. Thank you.
They said I have troll teeth.
That my voice sounded like a possessed baby doll.
That no one would ever love someone as stupid as me.
That I was fat, ugly.
Disgusting.
The effect of bullying is potent.
We will no longer be the silent majority.
Now, when you see online bullying, there's something you can do about it.
We're gonna take action with the I.
I am a witness.
I am a witness.
I am a witness.
I am a witness.
I am a witness, and so are you.
They're coming. Places, everybody.
Light check. 1, 2, 1, 2.
Everything looks good on our end.
And lights.
Come alive with the forest. Visit discovertheforest.org to find a forest near you.
Welcome to Middle School Academic Derby. I'm Brent Anderson, and I'll be your moderator for today's match between the Bulldogs from Dixon Middle School and the Falcons from Trexler Middle School. So let's get started by introducing our teams. We're going to first meet our team from Trexler Middle School, coached by Stephanie Caston and assisted by Anna Taylor.
Ethan Petch, 6th grade.
Azal Solomon, 8th grade.
Caroline Cubis, 8th grade.
Tiffany Echternock, 7th grade.
And now our team from Dixon Middle School, coached by Patty Brown.
Grace Glasgow, 7th grade.
Wilhelmina Pudal, 8th grade.
Eden Wimberly, 6th grade.
Jacob Wilson, 7th grade.
All right. Now in our first round, we're going to ask 7 questions to each team. If the first team doesn't answer, the second team will have a chance at the same question. After the first team has heard all their questions and had a chance to answer, the second team is going to have the same opportunity. In our first round, we always begin with our team on the top row, which is our team from Dixon Middle School. So go ahead and get your buzzers ready, Dixon. And your first question is a U.S. president's question. Name one of the only 2 candidates since 1912 to win the White House while losing California. Both were Democrats and were elected in 1960 and 1976, respectively? All right. Jacksonville comments? Or excuse me, Trexler. Caroline.
Ronald Reagan.
Incorrect. It was the president right before Ronald Reagan, which was Jimmy Carter, was elected in 1976, and John Kennedy in 1960. So both candidates to win without winning California. All right, our next question is a Proverbs question for you, Dixon. According to the proverb, where does lightning never strike twice? All right. Azelle.
Same place.
That is correct. It never strikes twice in the same place. All right, next we have a math question for you, Dixon. So with this math, it does involve some computation. So go ahead and get your pencil and paper ready. I'll read the question twice, and you'll have some extra time to come up with the answer. What is the average lifespan for African Americans based on a federal report showing that their life expectancy is 7 years less than the 76.5-year lifespan of Caucasians? So again, what is the average lifespan for African Americans based on a federal report showing that their life expectancy is 7 years less than the 76.5-year lifespan of Caucasians? Okay, Trexler. Ethan.
69 and a half years.
That is correct, 69 and a half years. All right, next, Dixon, we have a Middle East question for you. Which country invaded Lebanon in July of 2006 with the stated goal of removing Hezbollah forces there in a response to a Hezbollah attack that killed 8 Israeli soldiers? Okay. Trexler? Tiffany?
Israel.
Israel is correct. Next, Dixon, we have another math question for you. So pencil and paper ready. Read it twice and some extra time to come up with an answer. A person's weight on the moon is 1/6 that of Earth. If a woman weighs 11.2 kilograms on the moon, what is her weight on Earth? So again, a person's weight on the moon is 1/6 that of Earth, or that on Earth. If a woman weighs 11.2 kilograms on the moon, what is her weight on Earth? Eden.
7.2 kilograms.
That is incorrect. Azelle?
67.2 kilograms.
67.2 kilograms. 67.2. All right, our next question for you, Dixon, is a composer's question. Which composer who began to grow deaf later in life composed 9 symphonies and the Moonlight Sonata? Jacob.
Beethoven.
Beethoven is correct. And our final question for you in this round, Dixon, you guys had the unlucky draw with the number of questions that we were looking at here. You've got another math question. So another math question, it's a measurement question. So we'll read it twice and have some extra time to come up with an answer. How many centimeters are in 3 meters? So again, how many centimeters are in 3 meters? Eden.
108.
That is incorrect. Azelle?
300.
300 is correct. 300 centimeters in 3 meters. All right, we're going to move now to Trexler and your 7 questions. So Trexler, let's get you guys started with a world history question. At which site was Napoleon decisively defeated by Wellington and Blucher on June 18th, 1815? Tiffany.
Russia.
That is incorrect. Dixon? All right, the place we were looking for is Waterloo. Waterloo. All right, next we have a world geography question for you, Trexler. In 2003, thieves cleaned out 123 of 160 safes filled with diamonds in which European country, where over half of the world's diamond production passed through its city of Antwerp? Azelle.
France.
That is incorrect. Dixon? All right, time on that one. And the city is Antwerp. The country is Belgium. Belgium. All right, our next question for you, Trexler, is going to be a U.S. President's question. While serving as President pro tem of the Senate, David Atchison was technically U.S. President for one day, pending the swearing in of which president on March 5th, 1849, and he was the 12th President of the United States. Caroline.
Van Buren.
Incorrect. Dixon? Eden.
George Bush.
Little too recent for that one. Was Zachary Taylor. Zachary Taylor. All right, our next question for you, Trexler, is a legal terms question. So legal terms. The blue Caprice in which the suspected Washington, D.C. snipers were arrested had a hole cut into the trunk. Which word or what word beginning with P is used to describe a murder that involves planning? Ethan.
Premeditated.
Premeditated is correct. All right, Trexler, we've got a math question for you guys now, so pencil and paper ready. Read it twice, and you have some extra time to come up with an answer. What is the perimeter of a triangle if the sides are in a 2, 3, 4 ratio and the longest side is 12 meters? So again, what is the perimeter of a triangle if the sides are in a 2, 3, 4 ratio and the longest side is 12 meters? Caroline.
33.
33 is incorrect. Dixon? Jacob.
27.
27 is correct. 27 meters. All right, Trexler, we have a U.S. President's question for you. In January of 2003, Kansas replaced its statue of an 1880s governor in the U.S. Capitol's Statuary Hall with a statue portraying which late president of the 1950s? His grandson married President Nixon's daughter, Julie. Dixon? Eden?
John F. Kennedy.
No, not John F. Kennedy. The president was Dwight Eisenhower. Dwight Eisenhower. All right, and our last question for this round, Trexler, gets to you guys, and it is a science question. What name is used in science for any of the group of hypothetical particles believed by some to be the basis of all matter in the universe? Tiffany?
Atoms?
No, not atoms. Dixon? All right, the word we're looking for there is a quark. A quark. All right, and that is our last question for that round. We're going to be back with our score after this break.
Every year, 40% of all food in the U.S. never gets eaten.
40%. That's almost half the food we produce.
Food waste is a serious problem. It impacts all of us.
And it's expensive. Your family is throwing $1,500 a year in the trash.
We're working hard to put food waste on the chopping block.
And you can do the same at home.
Learn how to cook it, store it, and share it.
Just don't waste it.
Go to savethefood.com.
Everybody has a dream. Mine was to see the ocean. And with a little help, I made it.
Welcome back to Middle School Academic Derby. After our first round, our score is Dixon 4 and Trexler 12. We're going to move now into our bonus round, where either team may buzz in and answer the question. If the question is answered correctly, there will be 4 bonus questions asked, the answer of which must be given to the captain of the team. We have some new team members for our team from Dixon, so we're going to meet them now.
Benjamin Hernandez, 7th grade.
Brody Galvin, 8th grade.
Vivian Winter Hernandez, 8th grade.
Kaya Del Piso, 6th grade.
All right. Now, Azelle, you're the captain for your team, and Vivian, you're the captain for your team. So remember, guys, to answer nice and clear and loud after I call your name, and go ahead and pick up your buzzers, and we'll get started with this first question, and it is a math question. We're going to go right out of the box with a math. So go ahead and pick up pencil, paper, and we'll tell you, read it twice, and you have some extra time to come up with the answer. So what is the perimeter of a right triangle whose base is 9 inches long and whose hypotenuse is 15 inches? So again, what is the perimeter of a right triangle whose base is 9 inches long and whose hypotenuse is 15 inches? Tiffany.
39 inches.
That is incorrect. Dixon? Anybody? All right, very close. It is 36 inches, 36. All right, next we have a literature toss-up question for you. Which literary work by which author includes the line, "Charlotte liked to do her weaving"? Ethan.
Charlotte's Web.
And I need also the author.
E.B. White.
That is correct. Charlotte's Web by E.B. White. All right. And Trexler, here are your 4 bonus questions. Identify each of the following concerning Charlotte's Web. So specific questions about Charlotte's Web. Number 1, answer Fern gave when the teacher asked, "What is the capital of Pennsylvania?" All right. Number 2, the surname of Fern's uncle on whose farm Wilbur went to live. Number 3, name of the rat who lives on the farm with Wilbur. And number 4, the middle initial or surname, either one, of Charlotte the Spider. All right, Azelle, what you got?
For number 1, we have Philadelphia. For number 3, we have Templeton. And for number 4, we have T.
Number 3 is correct. Vivian, anything for 1, 2, or 4? All right. Wilbur was the answer that Fern gave when asked what the capital of Pennsylvania was. Zuckerman is the last name of Fern's uncle. And Charlotte A. or Cavatica is the answer for number 4. All right, next we have an English question for you. Give the English meaning of the root word found in the words podium, podiatrist, and tripod. Azelle.
Stand.
No, not stand. Dixon? All right, looking for foot. Excuse me, foot is what we're looking for there. All right, next we have a general trivia question for you. Express the number 2013 in Roman numerals. All right, time on that one. MMXIII would be 2013. All right, next we have a trivia question for you. Give the word that identifies the first U.S. boat to circumnavigate the world, a U.S. space shuttle, and the gem of the ocean. Azelle.
Pearl.
No, not Pearl. Dixon? All right, that word is Columbia. Columbia. All right, next we have a math toss-up question. So pencil and paper ready. And it is a computation question, so we'll read it twice and you have some extra time to come up with the answer. Excuse me. If a baseball team won 41 out of 164 games played, what percentage of games did it win? Again, if a baseball team won 41 out of 164 games played, what percentage of games did it win? Benjamin.
75%.
That is incorrect. Trexler? Caroline?
40%.
Also incorrect. Benjamin had it kind of flipped around, 75%, or excuse me, 25%. You said 75. 25% is the percentage of games that it won. Okay. All right, our next question for you is a number trivia question. Doesn't involve any calculation, just number trivia. All right. Killing the Hydra and capturing the three-headed dog of Hades were two of how many labors of Hercules? Kaya.
12.
That is correct. All right. So Dixon, here are your 4 bonus questions. Identify the number in each of the following that coincides with the given information. So I'm going to give you a clue, and you've got to tell me the number, okay? Number 1, a baker's dozen. Number 2, provinces in Canada. Number 3, weekdays in a period beginning on Ash Wednesday and lasting until Easter. And number 4, signs of the zodiac. All right, Vivian, what you got?
For number 1, we have 12. For number 2, we have 7. And for number 3, we have 23.
Okay, I'm afraid none of those are correct. Azelle?
For number 1, we have 13. For number 2, we have 8. And for number 4, we have 12.
All right, number 1 and number 4 were correct. Number 2, the provinces in Canada, there are 10 provinces in Canada. And the weekdays in a period beginning on Ash Wednesday and lasting until Easter, we know that more commonly as Lent, and that is 40 days. 40 days. All right, that bell tells us that we have come to the end of our second round. We'll be right back with our lightning round after this break.
Sure, I look cute now, but when my owner lost his job, it was rough. I was living on the street, and one night, me and this Cocker Spaniel got into it so bad, I wound up looking like an ice cream cone. I cried a little bit, but thankfully I got rescued, so I'm running, I'm jumping, all back to my old self, and I'm ready to give unconditional love, even if you put a lampshade on my head.
Hey, let's check out this park. Oh, wow, that's really cool.
To find a great local park or forest near you, go to discovertheforest.org.
Welcome back to Middle School Academic Derby Lightning Round. The score at the end of our second round is Dixon 6 and Trexler 20. We're going to meet a new team member now for our team from Trexler Middle School.
Jessica Housel, 8th grade.
All right. Now, for our lightning round, we're going to ask a series of 20 questions in 2 minutes. Remember, players, to wait until I call your name before you answer, and any incorrect answers do give points or will give points to the other team. So if you go ahead and pick up your buzzers, I will tell you that all of the answers for this lightning round begin with the letter V. The letter V. All right, here we go. In Roman mythology, the goddess of love, Azel.
Venus.
Correct. Person who takes over if the president dies or Azel.
Vice president.
Correct. State known as the Old Dominion, whose capital, Kaya.
Vermont.
Incorrect. Author of the Around the World in 80 Days and 20,000 Leagues Beneath the Sea. Time. The world's largest waterfall located in Africa. Tiffany.
Victoria Falls.
That is correct. Blood vessels that carry blood to the heart. Brody.
Veins.
Correct. South American nation whose capital is Caracas. Tiffany.
Venezuela.
That is correct. The Green Mountain State whose capital is Montpelier. Ethan.
Vermont.
Now's the time for Vermont. A person who voluntarily refuses to eat meat. Azel.
Vegetarian.
That is correct. All right. What the V in VCR stands for? Jacob.
Video.
Video is correct. Liquid seasoning that can be made by letting wine go sour. Kaya.
Vinegar.
That is correct. Smallest of the bowed string instruments. Tiffany.
Violin.
Correct. Scavenger birds, also called Jessica.
Vulture.
That is correct. In Roman mythology, the god of fire and smith of Tiffany.
Vulcan.
Correct. Game for 2 teams of 6 who knock a ball back and forth across a net. Brody.
Volleyball.
Correct. Italian explorer for whom America was named. Jessica.
Vespucci.
That is correct. Italian city built on islands where, Brody.
Venice.
That is correct. February 14th. Tiffany.
Valentine's Day.
Correct. In Norse mythology, the hall where the brave dead, Azel.
Valhalla.
Correct. And Count Dracula was one of these. Azel.
Vampire.
That is correct. All right. The Old Dominion, capital is Richmond. That might have helped if I'd gotten the capital out. Nope. We're in. That's it. Good reflexes, though, Kaya. Is Virginia. Virginia. Not Vermont. We had Vermont instead of Virginia. Vermont came later, though. And then author of Around the World in 80 Days and 20,000 Leagues Under the Sea is Jules Verne. Jules Verne. And I think that was the only 2 that we did not get an answer to. So you guys, a little slow start, but finished out very strong on that lightning round. So that is the end of our final round. We'll be right back with our final score after this break.
So, I'm kind of new here, but I've noticed a trend. My human does this funny thing where she goes around and gets all my toys, and then she hides them in that basket by the door. You know, but it's always the same basket, and it's always in the same place. And then she acts so surprised when I find them, but, you know, she's putting them in the same basket. Again. It's like, hello, that's where you put it last time. You were the worst at hide and go seek.
Oh, emojis! I thought the conversation just got dumber.
Ugh, internet trolls, just ignore them.
I like you just the way you are.
I believe in you!
She's a hugger. Give her a squeeze.
Help up the hand!
Ah, there you go.
Thanks, mate.
You're killing it, Jane!
Welcome back. Our final score for today's match is Dixon 16 and Trexler 48. We'd like to thank everybody for joining us on Middle School Academic Derby, and we'd also like to thank our scorekeeper for today's match, Ms. Kathleen McKellar, for her assistance with today's matches. So for all of us at Onslow County Schools, thank you for watching and have a great evening.